All right, welcome to Bayou Time. We're going to talk about reentry into society. I want to start off, they were calling you coach. We know you're a judge, but you're the coach of this thing, right?
I'm a co-chair of the program.
They're calling you coach. All right, so
Wear many hats.
Yeah, you're right about that. Let me ask you, Judge, how important is the reentry program and why are you such a centerpiece to it?
Well, the reentry program is very important to the security and safety of our community. And my main goal is to make sure that our community is safe, and when people return from incarceration, that they come back to the communities and are safe citizens. In the past, the way we handled incarceration, crime and punishment was incarceration, incarcerate, and people would go to prison, do their time, get out of jail, and be returned to the communities without any type of rehabilitation. And statistics show that 92% of the people who are incarcerated return back to the communities from where they came. So we want to make sure that when people are returning to the communities, that they're doing so in a safe fashion. That a lot of times we talk about people being rehabilitated by incarceration, but they're not across the board being rehabilitated while they're incarcerated. They're just doing their time. So people are coming out of jail with the same bad behaviors that they had when they went to jail. Sometimes they come out of jail with worse behaviors because they were sitting around with other bad people discussing their bad behaviors. And what we're trying to do is focus on the problems which led people to be incarcerated, address those issues so that they come out of jail a better citizen. And that really makes the community a safer place. There's a recipe that I always say for crime, which is a lack of education, lack of job skills, untreated mental health and substance abuse issues, lack of spiritual guidances, and a lack of a positive role model. And with reentry programs, we try to address each and every one of those issues so that when they return out of jail, they can be productive tax-paying citizens. When they are incarcerated through reentry programs, they get a high school degree, sometimes even higher educational levels. We teach them some type of job skills so they're employable when they get out of jail. We teach them some soft skills so that they know to get up and go to work every day. And be on time, most importantly. If they had untreated mental health and substance abuse issues, those are addressed so that when they get out of jail, they're a healthy citizen. And we have Beacon Light that stepped up to the plate and is acting as a spiritual mentor for the individuals. And we have positive role models for the individuals when they get out.
Well, let me ask you this, as a judge in Troop C, I bet there's many times somebody is in your courtroom and you're looking at them and you're probably reading them pretty well. By this point, you're going, with just a little help,
right,
they could be there. You see that a lot?
I see it all the time, especially with the felony trials. And when people plead guilty with me, I go through a litany of questions. One of the questions are, what's your educational level? What's your job skills? What type of work have you done? When's the last time you worked? And I can see a lot of times the issues are drug related, or sometimes it's mental health related. And I'll ask a 25-year-old, when's the last time you were employed? They tell me they've never been employed ever. How far did they go in school? And they tell me that they dropped out in the 9th grade. So those are the reasons why people are being incarcerated. They're not employable when they get out of jail. And when they get out of jail without some type of assistance, they come back to our communities with the same problems that they had before. They still have lack of education. They still have untreated drug and substance abuse issues. They still don't have positive role models or job skills. So they commit to crime.
Let me ask you this, Major Cottrell, if I can. Y'all don't have all the data yet, but you're gathering data as you go. This has to be helpful.
Absolutely. I've been working in correction for 25 years, and I've seen individuals repeat, recycle inside the facilities without the regional reentry program, without the success of the program. Over the years that we have incorporated regional reentry, I've seen a reduction in those same similar faces. Because we are now doing defined screenings, we are now diving deep into why individuals are reoffending and putting all those resources into that. My definition, my analogy is, I call it a purification process. If you look in the definition of the purification in the dictionary, it's releasing of contaminants. And I define the contaminants as lack of education, lack of diagnosis, mental health, lack of trades, lack of skills, lack of social skills, lack of soft skills, meaning some individuals don't even know how to tie a tie, don't know how to, write a resume, fill out an application, all those purification, drug use, drug problems. We try to release all those contaminants and reintroduce positive things like education, like
So
the judge spoke
contaminants,
on.
where do you think it falls apart? You've seen a lot of this. Early age or later on in life, when does it infiltrate?
I honestly believe that it starts at the younger age because it's unfortunate. I'm gonna use the term kids. Kids follow trends. They see what's successful on the outside. Individuals that may have drug problems or use drugs or sell drugs, they're able to buy material things. So the kids see those trends of the nice shoes, the nice cars, and they don't have education. They didn't finish school, so they start following those trends, and it kind of their role models are different.
And that's a great point. They see it visually, and they're saying, well, this guy didn't finish, but he's got a real nice car.
Correct.
And they follow him.
So they follow that trend. And what we have seen that because we have introduced so much positive and so much opportunities and resources, they are now following a different direction. They're now, wanting to support the programs, want to come back and give success stories and talk about some of the success.
We're going to turn to Agent Hester Serrato. I love saying that last name. There we go. All right, let's talk about your role, because obviously you've been in this quite a bit, but what's your role in all of this?
So in 2019, we started our local Louisiana Prisoner Reentry Initiative implementation steering team here locally, and it is the Bayou Region Reentry team. And you've already met two of our co-chairs. Judge Pickett is our community co-chair. Major Cortrell Davis is our prison co-chair. And I fall in the middle as that parole co-chair, where I deal with the community supervision side and a lot of the programs that the Department of Corrections has started to help remove those barriers that they both spoke about just a few minutes ago. So in removing those barriers, it helps the individual, it helps us meet the individual where they are, find out what their individual need is, and what can we do for them.
Okay, and I'm going to come back to y'all because I have an important question, but I want to get to Miss Sherry Wilmore first. And I see Sherry everywhere around town. She must, I almost think she has a twin. Y'all get the pun. Y'all know Sherry by now.
Big,
all right,
big.
so Sherry, from a community standpoint, I know you're big in the community. You've been a big advocate of this. I mean, what first got you interested in this?
What got me interested is one thing that I'm very big on is I'm big on serving the community, and what is best for our community is sometimes serving those who have been marginalized or left behind. And this is a population that falls into that category. They have been left behind, sometimes at a fault of what they had done themselves, and then sometimes at no fault of their own. And so how do we work to bridge that barrier, bridge that gap? And I took the role as a community coordinator because it was something I was passionate about. It allows me to do two things I love, which is talk and communicate with people, as well as serve people. And as a community coordinator, my job or my role is to get the community involved. How can you help? How can you give back? So if you are someone who you're retired and you're a teacher and you want some things you want to do with yourself, you can go to our local Terrebonne or LaFouche jail, correctional complexes, and work with individuals as part of your give back, if that's something you're passionate about. If you want to do yoga, so I know someone who's going to introduce yoga to women, and those type of things help people to come back with a better mindset, with better goals, and able to transfer the community. And with that, we're doing initiatives and we're doing things that better inform the community of what we're doing, and that's where I fall in. So on April 12th, LaFouche declare Second Chance Month, which is something that LaFouche has never done before, which is a great move forward. Terrebonne Parish, the parish president and the council members, they declared April Second Chance Month on April 13th. So that's something that's never been done before in either of those parishes. And with the Bayou area, we have to ensure that we educate people what we're doing and we inform them what we're doing. And so those things bring awareness to it. And then on April 26th at Fletcher Technical College, Community College, we will be hosting a employer forum. So the first half of it is employer engagement, and employers can learn, okay, this is a population I may be willing to work with, but I don't know everything about it. So I want to learn more. I want to gather more information. That's what most employers do. But at the same time, we understand that our population is an at-risk population. So there are incentives for employers to hire our population, which is where Louisiana Workforce Commission comes in and gives those incentives, such as tax credits, such as fidelity bonding, which helps an employer make a more informed and sometimes what they may see as a risky decision. They can say, hey, I can take a chance on this person because there's a safety net out there for me.
Yeah, let me ask, I want to go back to Major Cottrell Davis, because during the break we were talking. And you said some people who were incarcerated for hard time, you saw them start to get it. They would start studying. They would learn a trade. Tears would start coming from them. So it wasn't that they never had it in them. It's that no one ever encouraged them. And when you give them a little encouragement and they see the success, they think there's nothing they can't do at that point.
Absolutely. The light bulb effect goes off. The light bulb goes off. And to see them accomplish a certificate, a certification, you see a changed person. You know, you individuals that, like I said, serving hard labor, hard times, 15, 20 years, they get to our program and they have 1 inch in the right direction. Just 1 inch in the right direction, change the whole mindset, change the whole process. And they buy in. The buy-in is important.
Is it just that they just never heard that growing up?
In some cases, they never heard good job, attaboy, you can do it, and pat on the back when they do something positive. So that's what we bring to the table. We bring that care. You know, we used to always say care, custody, and control, and we've done our job. But no, now is a whole different language, a whole different ball game. We got to go above and beyond. And for them to know that we care, and we're just not there to lock them up, throw away the key concept, it changed the mindset. And like I said, the buy-in increases tremendously.
Any show we ever do, there's somebody out there going, that ain't gonna work. It's a waste of money. Armchair quarterback. And I hear laughter, and it's a mock laughter because y'all see it from ground level. How do you convince people that it's working, Judge?
Well, the statistics show nationwide that it works. And when you see these programs, they're supported by both Republicans and Democrats, people who are conservative and liberal. And what you have to understand is if a person's incarcerated, they're getting out most likely. 92%, like I stated earlier, are getting out and they're coming back to the communities. We just need to make sure that they're getting out a better person. And some charges that people are convicted for, as judges, we can give them the maximum amount of time, but they're getting out. For example, possession of cocaine, possession of methamphetamines, those are major crimes here in Terrebonne Parish that are the causes of a lot of the crime. I can only give that person 2 years max by law. That's the max. Right. And by the time they get good time and early parole, they're out of jail regardless of their prior history between 8 months and 12 months. And if they're just sitting there in jail and they're not learning anything, they're coming out just as bad as they were when they went in. And we're paying as taxpayers to incarcerate these people. And while they're there, let's pull together and put the resources together and try to do things that can eliminate that crime when they get out of jail.
Well, let me ask Major Davis something. If they come out and they're rehabilitated and they got a positive attitude, it costs a lot less that way than it would be if they go back in society and get rearrested and have to come to jail again.
Absolutely, absolutely. The cycle, if it continues, it just causes the community so many griefs and hardship. For me, it's the best opportunity for us to reintroduce a changed person, because once again, we're not doing it just for the sake of the correctional complex or the correctional facilities. We're doing it for the community. Mm-hmm. And when you release a better person in the community, they're not looking to reoffend, they're not looking to go in someone's yard and steal their lawnmower, to supply a need that they don't have the resources to get. So absolutely a great program, absolutely a successful program. The naysayers will be there, regardless of how much resources and opportunity we put in. You will still have those individuals, but the buy-in and the resources that come in from the community has been tremendous and very helpful. So it shows that, you know, as a community, both in Terrebonne and Lafourche, that we have the support cast that we need to succeed with this program.
Let me ask Agent Serrano, because when they're coming out and they're feeling good about themselves, what's the chances of them going to somebody who's about to get in trouble and say, whoa, 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 I've been there, let me tell you how not to get there?
Well, the number one mentor is someone who has been in those shoes. So those guys that are coming out with the positivity that they need from reentry are the best to work with the population before they get into trouble in mentorship. Absolutely, because they've walked those shoes. You know, there are so many different aspects of reentry that we work with, whether it's housing or, as he was saying earlier, mental health and substance abuse. It can be case management, working on getting their IDs, removing those barriers. And those guys that have been through, men and women that have been through this, are the best people to attest that what can be done and move that forward. One of the things, and I know these gentlemen and ladies have heard this before, but one of the things I love to tell people is, you know, we teach our children that when they play team sports, the team will only ever be as good as its weakest player. So you have to work with that weakest player in order for the team to get better. But your communities are the same way. You know, your communities, when you have a population that needs work, you have to concentrate on that population, build them up so that your community can progress forward. Mm-hmm. So absolutely, if we can use these ladies and gentlemen that have gone through these programs, that can talk about how these programs work to get others involved before they ever get into trouble, that's proactive. That's where we want to be.
And let me ask Sherry, with about 2 minutes left, Sherry, you got to be excited, because I see you going to these Rotary meetings and you hyping it up as much as anybody else, and there's a reason for that, and it is all about community, isn't it?
Yes, it is about community, and it's about, we can call them inmates, we can call them prisoners, we can call them offenders, but at the end of the day, they're people. They're parents, their mothers, their fathers, their cousins, their aunts. They're our community members, they're our neighbors. And so when we have that mindset, sometimes we have to take away the things that may distance you from a person, because if you think of them as a prisoner, you think of them as an offender, they distance. But if you think of them as a mother, as a father, as a cousin, as a neighbor, as your member, the person you see walking down the street, then you humanize them and you're able to see something in them to give back, to help them succeed in life. And that is what all of us sit here today, and our different community partners, from START to Goodwill to Beacon Light to businesses that hire persons that's been incarcerated, all those, like Big Mike's, all those entities come together to ensure that our community is, one, safe, but we bring home better people and that they stay home, because what we don't want is to continue to spend money incarcerating people. Now, my hope is one day that all of these people don't have their jobs, right? Because we live in a utopia society.
Right.
But until we get there, we want to work with individuals to ensure that our communities are better and safer. And we understand, I watch the news like anybody else watches the news, right? And if you see things happening, then you have to look at things and see, if we always incarcerated people, then we always did it and nothing changed. So what do we have to change? What is the risk of doing something different?
All right, I want to thank y'all for what y'all are doing. You're right. Hopefully one day, none of y'all have to do this.
Yes.
But until that day, thank you very much for what you all do. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank y'all for
Thank you.
being here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a short break. We'll have a lot more here on Bayou Time. Don't go away.